Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and this is Black Cat number 2. And I'm going to say I am liking this book. I was afraid that the first issue was going to be just kind of like a fluke, but no, I'm a sucker for heist, and I have to admit, I do prefer Black Cat over Catwoman. I don't follow Catwoman's book, and it's just, I don't know, Selena Kyle, I have nothing against her. I've always been more into Felicia Hardy, um, and I'm enjoying this book. I kind of like it when you have books that center around characters that, you know, sometimes they aren't heroes. Black Cat isn't really a villain. And, she kind of walks that kind of, that tightrope, that line. Um, kind of morally ambiguous, and I don't like it when they play her as a straight up villain like they were not too long ago. Um, but yeah, it could be fun, and they always say that heroes are nothing without their villains, and that's why there's some writers like Jeff Johns who I think he writes the best villains. But a lot of times his characters he writes, like when he was writing Green Lantern, Hal Jordan was kind of flat, but he made the villains interesting. And I felt the same way about stuff he's done with like Flash Rebirth. And I say this as someone that likes Jeff Johns, and I'm going off on a weird tangent right now. Anyway, about this book. I like heists. I have to admit it. There's just something about it. You get the crew together and, you plan it out. And yeah. Um, First off, let me start with this cover. If I have any complaints, it is this cover. And it took me a while to try and figure out uh, what's going on with it that bugs me. And I think it's several things. Obviously, we have Felicia. She's hanging upside down, and she's over, like a jewelry counters here, and everything. Got the guards, and she's holding a tiara. But the way everything is angled, we got the lines of the counters are lining up perfectly with her hands. It almost looks like she's pulling straps. And then we have the lighting back here, which I'm not sure if they just didn't know what to do with the background, didn't want to have all this empty space since we already have the walls here. So they just kind of put in like little squigglies, which almost looks like it could be hair. I'm I really have no idea what that's supposed to be. But it's colored like it's fire. And so of course we get the lighting up of her hair. Here comes JR, speaking of black cats. Um, the lighting from that other room, okay, come on, JR, keep walking, is lighting up her hair and stuff. And then when you flip it upside down, okay, I gotta move JR out of the way, otherwise he's gonna walk all over this. Maybe it's a perspective thing, but her head, yeah, see, we go head. It just her torso looks way too small. The angle of everything, and this is actually a position where her boobs would actually be doing this, being upside down, having that ultra pushed up look. But this cover, it just kind of messes with my head, all the perspective and being kind of all weird, and this kind of lining up with her hair, where her platinum blonde hair lines up with this, as does the fur on her arms. And maybe this is intentional. Maybe it is supposed to be like a symmetry type thing. Um, it's just not working for me. And it's one of those ones I looked at this cover for quite a bit, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Why is this room colored like it's on fire? Anyway, that is really my only complaint about the book. And I like J. Scott Campbell. I'm glad he's still able to get work in today's, kind of SJW thing. Um, so anyway, this book, oh God, I got every time I move, JR is going to come up. Okay, yeah, Marvel has to do that first page where we tell you about the characters. Um, so we have the Black Fox. Now, if you've read Spider-Man comics, you would know who he is. He's a class master class thief, and he goes to Felicia and her gang. Basically giving them a job, and he's really kind of squirrely about the job, what it is exactly. Um, and Of course we get the details. Some funny bit that's the dialogue is not Bendis level, thankfully, but it is kind of funny. You know, we took down Spider-Man. Hey, I'll tangle with Spider-Man, if you know what I mean. She even does the arm thing. And they're kind of grossed up. What? It was hot. It's Spider-Man. He's gross. Does he have a spider face? Screw you guys. He doesn't have a spider face. He doesn't have a spider anything. Anyway, enough grab ass. I like how she gets offended when she's the one that brought it up. So, and it is kind of interesting that her gang would not ask, hey, wait, if you've been that close to Spider-Man, do you know who he really is? You figure that little bit of information would be very important to people. So anyway, they start talking about the job. And here's one of the things. Who is this writer? Who is this? Jed McKay? I'm liking him. Because he pulls up this guy here, who is Xander the Merciless. He looks just kind of like a hobo. As they're going to the job, Black Cat is narrating, explaining that for some jobs you need a Merlin. And a Merlin, basically like a magic user. Like if you're trying to hack into a system, you get a computer hacker, you know. If you need a big strong guy, you get muscle. But if you have something magic, you get a Merlin. And, yeah, so she pulls up Ming the, Ming, let's call him Ming the Merciless. I'm going Flash Gordon. Xander the Merciless, who is an old Doctor Strange villain. And that's why I said I'm liking this writer. Because I love when artists, creators, when they take characters that have appeared only once or twice and they bring them back. You know, you don't always need to make a new character. You know, it makes the world feel more alive. If you take these one-off characters and bring them back. And, yeah, I absolutely love that. And it's not so much the continuity porn of all of it. There are so many characters out there that might have been in bad stories or just given a, just a one shot, they're a one and done villain. Bring them back. Don't always have to make a new character. And yeah, I know a lot of writers now always try and put out their characters because if a movie gets made, they'll get some type of credit for it, right? Anyway, so we're getting a little bit more of how Black Cat explains how she met Black Cat met Black Fox and how he trained her father. And, basically how he recruited her and trained her. What we find, the big job he's hired them for, and that they had to bring in Xander the Merciless, is that they're breaking in to Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. They're going to steal an object from within Doctor Strange's place. And, yeah, there's even a line about, are you sure he's not home? Yeah, he could be with the Avengers or Defenders. Who knows what they're doing, what team he's on. And so, yeah, Felicia does explain how, you got to be careful with Merlins. You don't want someone too powerful or, you end up in a bad way. So you got to get someone who's, not too powerful, but they tend to be a little bit crazy because, magic is a whole different realm. And now we go into this subplot here where Sonny, who was chasing the Black Cat, he was the head of security in the first issue, he's getting out of jail. He got arrested, lost his job. And that's when the head of the thieves, Odessa Drake, comes to offer him a job. Basically, she's going to hire him as kind of like an investigator for Felicia Hardy. And so we get, most of the issue is spent because they have Xander, who is basically there to keep the house defenses off of them. But there's all kinds of other things going on in the house. Strange is so powerful, like they said, even his, he casts off his stray thoughts like we cast off toenails. And, here we have talking snakes. And, yeah, we have some great lines in here, about the snakes flirting with her. Hey-ho, girl. Drop with the zeros, get with the heroes. Don't try to catcall this kitty, boys. Meowza. Be nice. Make me forget what a lovely belt I can make out of you two. She pops her claws. Kitty's got claws. You boys need new material. Everyone's a critic. What's a nice girl like you doing at a joint like this? Came to borrow a saucer of milk. And Xander's like, don't talk to the snakes. And the snakes are like, yeah, Poindexter, butt out. And I'll tell you a secret. I'm not really supposed to be here, but you're cool, right? We're no snitches. Good boys. And, the snakes are flirting back and forth, Hate to see her go, love to watch her leave. So, yeah, it's a fun book. And, yeah, here we have basically the deal is being made with Sunny and Odessa. And at Doctor Strange Sanctum Sanctorium, things just get weird. And again, they have to have Xander here because they're out of their element. They're trying to steal from Doctor Strange. And I don't want to give too much because it's fun. And when you find what they're trying to steal, not quite what you would think. But of course, what happens when you bring a villain in who has history with Doctor Strange? Yeah, you could see where that was going. Um, I almost took a point away on that because once I saw him and I saw Xander the Merciless, I'm like, wait a minute, I think I know him. And I did have to look it up, I'm going to be honest, but it was who I thought it was. But I think he was also called Xander to something else. But, excuse me, lose my voice there. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, I'm enjoying this book. Like I said, the thing is, we knew what was going to happen with Xander. That was no big surprise. But sometimes getting there is enjoyable. If it's not just like a route one step, you know right where you're going to. Um, if you know the destination and you get surprised on the way and have fun, that can make it okay. Am I making sense? I'm talking about the Xander thing that happens at the end. But anyway, I am liking this book. And the Doctor Strange bit is fun. It's a fun book. And that's so great to have these days. I'm glad we have fun books. The art kind of varies. Sometimes it's kind of good. I kind of like this scene here, the lighting, and I think the art on the whole is okay. Um, and there are some parts where it gets a little bit weird, but it's not bad. The art's fine. Excuse me. I'm doing all kinds of noises tonight. So anyway, Black Cat. No, I said Black Cat, not you. I was talking about the comic. No, not you, JR. See Black Cat, and he just comes right up. But about the Black Cat comic, man, I wish I would have planned that. I wish I could have set that up somehow. But about the Black Cat comic book, yeah, 12 o'clock. Normally do it this hand, but 12 o'clock. I'm going 12 o'clock on this book. Get it. Two good books in a row. I was expecting Invisible Woman to be bad, and it was good. First book of Black Cat was good, and it's still keeping up the quality. So pick this up. I'm loving this book. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.